I will be going over some commands and features that are either new or have been enhanced in this version of AutoCAD. I think most of you must be aware that this version of AutoCAD, it was released in sometime in late March. And so it's pretty new out there in the market. So this might be your first introduction to what's new in AutoCAD 2021. So let's start rolling. Before I start my presentation, let me give a short introduction about myself. My name is Renu Muthu, as you can see in the screen, and I am the learning content developer with Ascent. I have over 20 years of experience in various Autodesk products. Here at Ascent, my main role is to write and update the courseware material, including the training guides for various Autodesk software products, such as AutoCAD and other AutoCAD verticals, which include AutoCAD Electrical, AutoCAD Mechanical, Plant Design. And then I also create courseware material on the Autodesk visualization software products, and that includes Autodesk 3ds Max and VRED Professional. So as always, I will be explaining the topic with the help of the PowerPoint presentation slides that you can see on the screen. And then I will also demonstrate it in all those features and commands in the AutoCAD 2021 software. So, well, let's get started. So I'll be presenting some of the commands that have been changed or are new to this year's version of the software. All those features are covered in our AutoCAD 2021 Fundamentals Training Guide, which is already out there. I am pulling the information from the various chapters of the training guide. So from chapter 9, which is analyzing model and object properties, I'll be talking about the quick measure tool, which although was introduced last year, but they have enhanced it this year by adding a new feature into it. The trim and extend commands have been totally revamped this year. So I'll be pulling that information from chapter 11 of the book. The blocks palette has been further enhanced and is covered in chapter 12. Then this year also saw a new tool, which is comparing Xrefs. That information is covered in Xref chapter 31 of the training guide. You can see on the screen the cover of the book. That's AutoCAD 2021 Fundamentals, and it's already available for you guys out there. Now, the learning objectives for today's presentation. They are obtain dimensions, distances, angles, and areas in a drawing. This is the quick measure tool. Remove part of an object that extends past a cutting edge, which is the trim command. Lengthen an object to reach a required edge, which is the extend command. Inserting blocks using the blocks palette, and then compare two different versions of an Xref file. So the quick measure tool, let's go over it quickly. So the quick measure tool provides you with multiple measurements in real time. It is a quick and easy way of displaying the dimension, distances, angles, and areas in a single command. As you select the tool, the cursor displays an infinite plus mark. And as you hover the cursor over some objects, as all the appropriate measurements close to the cursor are displayed. Now, as you can see in the figure, the dimensions, so here up there, that's the 7.7 feet and 4 inches. This is the dimension of this particular line over here. Similarly, the distance between this line and the other line opposite to it, it's 16 feet and 4 inches. Similarly, it's touching these two lines as well, and then it's displaying the dimensions of those, the distance between these two lines. And then there are those two square-like thingies at along the right-hand corners, and these are the angles. They specify that these angles are just 90 degree, and they are absolutely right-angled at this point in time. So all of this was actually introduced last year in the AutoCAD 2020 version of the software, but this year they have added one more feature to the quick dimension tool, and that is the area and the perimeter of a closed area. So what happens is once you're still in the same command and your cursor is displaying as an infinite plus mark. Now, when you get all those the dimensions and the distances between the lines that it is touching, you can click inside. When you click inside a closed area, it is filled with green. It turns green, actually highlighted with green. And then the area and the perimeter are displayed at the cursor location and also at the command line at the bottom of the screen then. So this is an added feature this year, and it's a very easy way of getting to display all the dimensions of the places you want. You don't need to actually go into the specific distance tool of the measurement tool and then pick 2 points. So this is an easy way and very convenient, easy and efficient way of dynamically seeing all the different dimensions, areas and things like that. And also, if you want to see the cumulative area of various different closed areas, all you have to do is hold the shift on your keyboard and then keep on clicking inside the closed areas. That way, all the areas are accumulated, like they are summed up, and that's what is displayed near your cursor. So now the trim and extend commands. So these had been totally revamped, as I mentioned before, this year. So as far as last year was concerned, so till last year, the trimming and extending commands, both of them, when we invoked those commands, first thing we had to do was to select either the cutting edges or the boundary edges. So what has happened this year, they have become more intelligent commands. And once you invoke the commands and start hovering the cursor over objects, the software automatically detects potential cutting edges for the trim command and potential boundary edges for the extend command. So, so this is a huge improvement. You don't have to select the cutting edges and you don't have to select the boundary edges for either the trim or the extend command. But these legacy ways are still there, available in the trim and extend commands, but they are available through the drop-down the drop-down arrow menu that for the options that is available with each command. So, so the default options, now the default options for both the trim and extend commands there are 3 default options. So for the individual selection, all you do is you keep on clicking. And once you hover the cursor, as I mentioned before, it detects the boundary edges or the cutting edges. And then if you feel that, and then the trimming place, the trimming object, or which is going to be trimmed, will be faded in light gray. So if you feel that that's what you wanted, then you can click on that that portion of the object and trim it, or you can just extend it. So if you don't like it, like that's what you wanted to trim, you can just keep on moving around and see wherever exactly you want to get it trimmed. So you can individually select those portions and they will get trimmed or extended. Now, there is also a freehand selection that is a default option. All you have to do is keep on holding the left mouse button. And once you do that, if you keep on holding and don't click and leave, you just keep on holding and move over different areas or different areas of different lines and objects, it keeps on adding them into the whole set to be trimmed or to be extended. So as you can see here on the screen in the right hand side, in this area, there are, if you can see these light 4 light gray, these have faded lines. So what has happened is that I started from here and then kept on moving in a free hand, because holding the mouse button, and then moved it around here till here, and all the 4 lines could be taken off or trimmed in a single command. Then there is also a 2-point fence selection, which is also a default option. And all you have to do is click at one point and not clicking on the object. If you click on an object, it will trim that object, but it's away from the object. And we in this figure here, we started here, and then we pressed another point at the bottom, and whatever objects are touched by this fence object, they get trimmed. So you can see here on the screen, this got trimmed, this will get trimmed, this will get trimmed once we commit it. So again, the legacy options are still available, as I mentioned before again, and that both the cutting edge and boundary edges, you can select it beforehand and then proceed with your regular trim and extend commands. So that can be obtained from the drop-down menu. So in the drop-down menu, you will have, for the trim command, you will have a cutting edge, and you have to select that, go into your figure, select the cutting edge first, and then you will start trimming the objects. And similarly, for the extend command, you will select the boundary edges first and then extend those objects. There is also this crossing option that was available in the previous version as well. And what it does is, now you have to explicitly invoke it, like again from the drop down menu. In the drop down arrow menu, you will have this crossing option. You will just select it and then create a window, and whatever objects are inside that window will get trimmed or extended. Now we'll talk a little about blocks palette, and after that I will go into the software and demonstrate all those three different features that I said was enhanced in this year. So I'll demonstrate them in the software after I just go over this blocks palette as well. So the blocks palette was introduced in place of the insert block dialog box last year in the AutoCAD 2020 version of the software. But this year, what they have done is they have enhanced. So there are 3 tabs, as whoever has worked with AutoCAD 2020 must have already known that. So there are 3 tabs: the current drawing tab, recent tab, and there was other drawings tab for last year. So they have renamed it to libraries tab this year. And also now in the libraries tab, what you can do is, that you can, it allows you to insert blocks from other drawings and other AutoCAD drawings as blocks. So which is normal, which was done with the insert blocks command. But this year, what they have added is that there is a navigation tool up here. So when you select it, it opens an open block dialog box. And in that dialog box, you can select a folder. And in that folder, if you have multiple drawings, all those drawings will be included into your current drawing as blocks, and you can get them as blocks. So in one go, if, for example, you have 10 blocks which you need to insert into the current drawing, all you have to do is place them in one folder, and through using this navigation tool up here, you can just navigate to that folder, select the folder, and once you select the folder, all the different blocks will be listed here in the libraries. And from that library, you can then keep on inserting. You don't have to individually now go and select each block separately. So that is it has become more efficient. Plus last year also, this was introduced as it was introduced last year. This insert option saw a new feature for the blocks, that was the repeat placement. And what it did was that, for example, you need this laptop, the drawing as a block but at various positions. So previously what we had to do was to insert each block separately, and it became really cumbersome. So they have really made it more efficient this year and since last year. So what has happened is that you can check this repeat placement option, and then while you are inserting the laptop.drawing, you can insert multiple copies of the same block. So that was the blocks palette, the enhancements there. Now we'll get into the software demonstration of the quick measure tool that we talked about, the trim and extend command, and the blocks palette. So let me bring up the software screen for you guys, and I'll demonstrate all those three different features. So so let's start with the quick measure tool first, and I'll get into this one, this drawing, so that it's easier to show. And it is available in the Home tab and the Utilities panel. You have the measure flyout right there. So once you open it, you have the quick measure tool, and all you do is invoke it, and then the cursor, you can notice, has changed into an infinite plus mark. And this, once you hover it around, it highlights whatever it is touching. So in this case, it is touching of the workroom. It is touching the left wall right here. The blue, it has become blue with the thicker line weight. And on the right side, the bottom line and the top line right here. So what it is giving us is the dimension of the right side line right there is 38 feet. Then the distance between the left vertical line and the right vertical line is 12 feet. Similarly, the distance between the top horizontal line and the bottom horizontal line is 31 feet and 2 inches, so on and so forth. So this was already introduced in last year's version of the software, but this year what they have added, this year Autodesk has added is the area. You can find the area of a closed area. So this the Tellers area has this. This is a closed area. Once I click inside it, it turns it into green, and the area and the perimeter is displayed at the cursor prompt. So here it says it is 14064.0 square inches, which is the area, and the perimeter is 97 feet and 8 inches. At the bottom, if you notice right there at the bottom, I'm not going to move my cursor because once I move the cursor, it again changes into the plus sign. So we lose it. So if you look down there is the measure geom command. This is the quick measure command can be also invoked at the command prompt using the measure geom command, and the area and the perimeter is also displayed right there. So that's what it is for today's for the quick measure tool. It's very cool. You can easily get the area of closed areas. And plus, if you want now the cumulative area, all I have to do is I'm holding Shift on my keyboard, and then I'm clicking inside this area. It will add that area to the total area, and then total perimeter will be added. So if I want to add more, I am still holding the Shift button on my keyboard. Click here, it turns green, it adds that area, and to the perimeter it adds. So it's the cumulative area and cumulative perimeter of all those three closed areas. So that was the quick measure tool. Now let's go and check for the blocks palette right here. As we are in the same drawing, I'll just open the blocks palette. So what we can do is blocks palette is available through the insert command, and then you have the insert in the block panel. You have the insert drop down menu. So once you open it, the gallery is so gallery has all the blocks that are located that are present in the current drawing, and you can select either the recent blocks or the blocks from libraries. Both will start the palettes, the block palette. So if we select the recent block, it will open the block palette in the recent tab. So we can also, there's another way of getting the blocks palette, and that's generally from the view tab and the palettes panel. Here you have all the palettes displayed there, and you can select the blocks palette right there. The new thing this year, so this was introduced last year, the palette was introduced last year, but this year new is this libraries tab. It was called the other drawings tab last year, but this year it's called libraries tab. And so what we can do is we can just simply, what I have done is actually, I can get in some block. Maybe I can go up here and get the table A block and open. And so it will open, it will show it in the libraries tab, the table A. So it shows me the table and plus all the other blocks that are available through that drawing, the table A drawing. Now, if I want to get all the drawings inside a folder, I have placed all my drawings and the blocks inside a folder together because I need them in the same current drawing. So all I have to do is go through the navigation tool again, go there. And what I have done is I have placed 3 drawings inside this folder for blocks for you to see how I can get it. So I select the folder itself. I don't have to select the individual drawing. I select the folder and then say open. It will display all the 3 drawings that are inside of that folder. So this is a new feature, a cool feature. You can all assemble your blocks in a single folder and then in one go get them inside your current drawing. So you don't have to individually go and select them each time. It was very time consuming as well as cumbersome. So this is really cool. And then the repeat placement feature, this is pretty cool as well. So all you initially, like previously before 2020 version of the software, there was each time you had to, for example, you wanted to insert this table at 10 different locations in the current drawing. You had to just go each time, select it, get it in there, select it, get it in there. All you have to do is select this checkbox for repeat placement, and then, for example, select the table, keep on inserting it wherever you want. So you can do whichever way you want to, so keep on selecting. At the same time, you can select the rotation. For example, you want to rotate it, you can do that also. And that is also available through the drop-down menu right here. You can rotate it and simply after rotating, place it here. So it has become very convenient and very easy, efficient, the blocks palette using. So that's the new thing in the blocks palette. So now the trim and extend commands, let's go over that. So let me open another drawing, close the blocks palette here, and it's available, the trim and extend command, as usual, or as normally they are available through the home tab and the modify panel. So the trim, so once we start the trim command, for example, I start the trim command, and what it does instead, so till last year, as I mentioned, the legacy was that we had to select the cutting edges first. But here you don't have to actually do that. All you have to do is just hover your cursor over an area which you want to trim. For example, I want to trim it here. It automatically detects this line and this line as the trimming edges, the cutting edges. And then you can select, you can hover your cursor, it will be faded to show you that this is what is going to be trimmed. If you want that to be trimmed, you can just individually select it and boom, it's gone. Then there are also for the trimming, let me get it back. For the trimming option, as I mentioned before, is the 2-point fence option, and that's available if I, for example, I select a point here and then all the way I go down. I keep on going down, and you can see I can trim all the four lines at the same time because it is detecting the cutting edges, and I can use the fence option, and it's the default. I didn't select anything. I just have to not select an object, but pick a point above the object and then pick a point somewhere else, and whatever is it touches will be trimmed. So let's go escape. And then we have the, as I told you before also, the third default option is the freehand selection option. So for example, you wanted to trim this line between this and this area, and then this line and this line between this and this area. So for that, we'll start the trim command again, and then holding the mouse button. You don't leave the mouse button. So all I do is I start here and then keep on moving it over this, then come out and go down and then move it in here, then move it in here, and probably move it in here, and it will detect all the cutting edges, and it will also trim those 4 lines separately. So that's the freehand option, which can come in handy a lot of times because you don't have to go and click on all the 4 lines in a single while holding the mouse button. You can just go over whatever you need to trim. So we can do that. So Control Z. Then similarly for the extend command, once we invoke the extend command, it will select the boundary edges for the extension automatically. It will detect that and then show you where it will be extended to. For example, this line, if we are on the right hand side, it will extend to the light red line, and you can extend it till there, or if you move towards the left area, it will extend to the blue line and extend it till there. If you wanted that, you can go ahead and select it. So we'll select this and extend it out there. Then again, we are still in the command. We can select it, and it will detect the next available boundary edge, and you can just keep on clicking, and it will be extended till there. Now, if you want to extend it in one go, again, you will use the fence command, or let's go Control Z. And so, for example, I can select this and then this. Together, both of these will be extended to the red line, just like so. And also now, if I want to trim in the same command, this was possible before also. This is nothing new, but it is quite handy to show. So all you do is shift. You're still in the extend command, although you're in the extend command, but you can hold your shift button on your keyboard and then keep on trying this. It will trim. It changes from extend to trim. So this was done previously as well. It is nothing new, but it comes in handy using the same command to extend or to trim. So whichever command you're in, it'll use that as the command. But if you press shift, you can either, if you're in trim command, you can extend using shift, or if you're in extend command, you can hold down the shift, and that will be the trim command if you're in extend command. So okay, so that was the trim and extend. Let's go back into my software, into my presentation slides, and we can proceed from there. So okay, so the demonstration was done for all those 3. Now let's go and see comparing Xrefs. That is new, a new tool that they have provided, new command in the AutoCAD 2021 software version. So what it does is, when a drawing that is referenced inside another drawing, and when that reference drawing is changed, you can see the differences between the drawings by using the compare Xref command. If the host drawing is open and the externally referenced drawing is changed by someone, for example, you are alerted by a balloon. So here you can see that the balloon alerts you, and it says that this drawing was changed by somebody, by RM2, that's me. And you can also, when you click on the link, it will compare the changes. You can also invoke the compare command from the Xref palette, external references palette, by right-clicking on the drawing and saying compare, and then you can see the recent changes or with the selected file. So the next one is that So once you start the Xref compare command, the drawing is in compare mode, and it is indicated how you can see is in the compare mode is by a blue border. It is the whole drawing is enclosed in a blue border. You can see on the screen in the figure, we have this blue border. It is enclosing the whole drawing. It is also the Xref compare toolbar is displayed at the top, and the changes are enclosed in a revision cloud. So this circle was a change, and that is enclosed in this yellow revision cloud. So it shows you what it is comparing it, and it in the here you can see that it shows that it's in compare mode right now. So that is the compare Xref. Now you can also open up the Xref compare toolbar, and what you can do through this is you can toggle the various display options, and also change the shape and color of the revision cloud, and you can also zoom to the previous and the next comparisons. So after you're done comparing and everything else, you can select this check mark, this green check mark here, and to end the comparison and come out of the compare mode. So now let's go back into my software, and I will show you the Xref demonstration, Xref compare demonstration. So let's get back here, and I'll open this drawing. So this is a file where this is a drawing which is Xref into this current Xref compare drawing. Let me open the Xref palette and show you what I mean by that. So again, in the view tab in the palettes panel, you have the external references where you can open the palette. So the palette is right here, and you can see that a factory floor plan M. If I select it, it will show you where it is. So this one is referenced into this current drawing. There is also a factory landscape M that has been referenced here, and then there is also a DWF file that has been Xref'd. So if we get back and open this drawing and make a change there, so suppose somebody else is actually making a change. So let me open the factory floor plan M, and what I'll do is I will add a circle in there. So add a circle here. So this has been added, and then before I go back, it is not going to show up unless I commit it, which is done by saving the drawing. So I'll save it, factory floor plan M. I have added a circle, and I am saving it right now. When I go back into the Xref compare, where it is an Xref drawing, you can see a balloon comes up, and it alerts me that somebody has made a change in the factory floor plan M. So if I open it here, I can either open it or I can right click here. So it shows this two double arrows, and it shows it needs reloading because there has been a change. But before you reload it, you want to see what the change was. So you can just go in here and compare the changes. So there you go. So the change is right here, that has been enclosed in a revision cloud, which is yellow in color, and it turns green if I open the Xref compare tool. So again, this is the comparison mode, blue border around. You have the Xref compare toolbar up there, and then you open the Xref compare toolbar, and in there you can display different, only in current drawing, not in current Xref, and all that stuff. You can just use that. So for example, I will use, if I switch this off, it's not going to, it's going to switch it off and not show it. So again, it will show it. There's nothing right now which has been saved in the current Xref in the Xref compare the host drawing. So there's nothing there which has been used and it has changed again. So that's why it doesn't show something in red. But I'll go ahead and change that a little while later. I'll show you. And also you can change the color of the cloud display. For example, the revision cloud is not too visible. you can just get into the select color and choose a better color you want. So maybe turn it to blue and say okay, and you will see it turns the revision cloud into blue. You can also control the different various things of the revision cloud. Like it can be rectangular or it can be polygonal. You can also change the size of the arcs in the revision cloud now. That is a new feature, but that's a little bit advanced. That is about revision clouds, and I'm not going to touch upon that right now. But that's also a new feature in AutoCAD 2021. So let's go back and say, okay, come out of the Xref compare tool, and now you can see it has become part of the Xref compare host drawing. So let's save it in there first. So we'll say save, and now it becomes a part of the Xref compare. Go back into the floor plan and probably delete it now. So we'll delete it, and instead we'll put in a square right there and add that square right there. And then say save to the floor plan M, commit those changes, go back into Xref compare, and now it will again show that the Xref was modified. So now get back into the compare mode, and now you can see that there is one thing is in green, which is that it is in the original drawing. The green part is the only in current Xref in the original drawing. This is not in the current Xref. It is only present in the host drawing, and you can just toggle between them. Like you can just switch this off. Let me pan it a little bit so that you can easily see it. So I'll switch this off and the red marker is gone. You can switch this off and the green marker is gone. So you can have either this or that, and you can see which one is where. And you can just say, then once it is done, again, you can make changes to your revision cloud. You can change the color, you can so on and so forth, and then say commit. And now it has a square. It doesn't have the circle. So so this is about the Xref compare tool. That is the new one. So let me get back into the PowerPoint slide. And then, so to summarize today's presentation, we were able to extract multiple information dynamically using the quick measure tool. We were able to modify existing objects to ensure that they have the correct length using the trim and extend commands. We were also able to insert blocks using the blocks palette, and we were able to compare the host drawing with its externally referenced. So with that, I am going to hand you back over to Lori.